Okay, let's fire up Unity. I'm using Unity 5, and I'm gonna create a pretty big game called The World, which is based off on a very old idea I came up with a friend back in the 90s. And we never did it because game development used to be really difficult, and now it's become a lot easier with tools like Unity. So we've started up Unity 5 here, and it's giving us our empty scene. If we play it, we see our skybox, directional light, we have a camera. I'm actually going to delete that camera because I don't use it. And I'm going to set up sort of the standard way I usually set up the games. That's having a game manager here. A lot of people do scripts, script objects, that kind of stuff to attach scripts to. I usually use my game manager. It'll get clear, but yeah. So the basic idea of this world is to have a player that doesn't really participate in any of the games, really. Like, it's a bit strange, but the games are all played by the computer against itself. And then the output of the result of these games manifest themselves in this world. And it's this randomly generated world that is all generated because the computer is playing games against itself. And it will get clear down the line, but I think there's a lot of opportunity there to get into game mechanics and that kind of stuff. So great. Create another empty game object, make sure it's in the root, and just call that player. We just need that for now so we can get something to move around. That's the objective of this tutorial right here. This part 1 is to get us moving around in our world. To represent the player, I'm just going to use a capsule, raise it up by 1 unit so it's off the floor, and I'm going to attach a camera so we have something to look through, and it's anchored to the player, which is kind of nice. So move it up 2 units and move it back about 5 units. That's pretty good. And then yeah, to this player we want to have a couple of things actually. We want to have a rigid body so we can move it around, and we want to set some constraints on that for now. Freeze the position, Y, and all of the rotations for now. And let's create another let's create a cube and just position that sort of here in front of the player, and that's just so we can see ourselves move around, otherwise we wouldn't see it. And then attach a script to it, a new script called player input. Let me try to spell that right. Player input. Yep. And it's a C# script, and we open that in MonoDevelop, which always opens pretty slow for me. Cool. Let's remove all that standard stuff and just recreate it. We're gonna need a public float called speed, and I like to use a fixed update function to move myself around. In the beginning we'll have a move horizontal equals input dot get axis horizontal, and we'll have a float move vertical equals input dot get axis vertical. Great. Now this script, this player right here, this script is attached to the player game object. So when you call game object with a lowercase g like this, you're referencing this player game object, and you can then reference the components that are on it. So component would be a transform, a rigid body, and it's the script. Anything that's here is a component. So you do get component, and we want to reference the rigid body, because then we can set its velocity. So that's the momentum of the object, which is a vector 3. And then we can use, for the x, we can use move horizontal times speed. The y we don't care about at the moment, so we set it to 0. And the z will move vertical times the speed. Now before we forget, we need to set the speed here in the player input script, that public variable we created. I'll set it to 10, and we need to save our scene. So I like to do that here in a folder called scenes. I'll call it main, and it's also let's create a folder here called scripts. Keep organized, and create a folder called player. Great. And then I just want to create another script here to do it here, called player manager, just so I kind of show that structure. I put all my manager scripts on the game manager basically, and it'll make a lot of sense once we get further down the road. I think that might be it. Oh, actually no, we will be falling. Oh, we're not. Oh no, because I actually I constrained the y, so we're not falling by the gravity, which I didn't turn off. Funny. So usually here in the rigid body, in this situation, I actually turn off the use gravity, so we don't fall through the non-existing floor, because there is no floor. We'd be just falling down in space. But I constrained the y, so right here in the freeze position, I think if I turn gravity on and unconstrain the y, we start falling. So yeah, that's it. That's kind of us set up to have a playing field, and the next lesson will start actually making our game come to life.